Thank you very much, Leo, and good morning, everyone. And indeed, if you're looking for that other George Miller, I think he's over in Congress doing some real work. So it's really an honor to be here and to represent 84,000 members of the American Institute of Architects. And we really are honored to be part of the Blue-Green Alliance. And nothing is more important to us than good jobs and green jobs, I can tell you. It really is important to us. The AIA's interest in this conference is really its relevance to America, and its relevance to America's architects stems from a simple fact. Buildings and their construction count for nearly half of all greenhouse gas emissions and energy consumed in the United States each and every year. Globally, of course, this percentage is even higher. Clearly, architects in the construction industry can make a major contribution to America's economic and environmental security. Our industry has the will to make that contribution. What we need are the tools. In the wake of the 40th anniversary of Earth Day, Congress finds itself struggling for ways to make green jobs a reality and to reduce our nation's dependence on fossil fuels. The struggle, however, is not for new ideas. The struggle would seem to stem from a national sense of urgency. Well, bills and many bills have been introduced in this session of Congress that demand broad bipartisan support and could help create hundreds and hundreds of thousands of jobs in the design and construction industries and go a long, long way toward curbing energy use. I'm going to give you a few of those bills, so there's some homework here. So when you go home, you can really push for the passage of these bills in your neighborhood. Senate Bill 3079, introduced by Senators Merkley and Mark Pryor, would create a new federal program known as Building Star. Under this program, building owners could receive rebates and low-cost financing options for energy-efficient renovation of existing buildings. In architecture and in building, our first step out of this economic downturn is going to be in that area, renovating existing buildings and working indeed on infrastructure. The AIA estimates that this bill would create 25,000 jobs this year alone with an investment of $1 billion, 150,000 jobs with an investment of $6 billion. House Bill 2336, the Green Act, introduced by Representatives Perlmutter and Biggert, provides incentives to lenders and financial institutions to offer lower interest loans and other benefits to consumers who build, buy, or remodel their homes to make them more energy efficient. The AIA estimates that around 140,000 jobs would be created annually in the building industry if this bill was passed, so get behind it, please. And House Bill 2187, the 21st Century Green High-Performing Public School Facilities Act, which was passed by the House in May of 2009 and sponsored by that other George Miller and Ben Chandler, would provide $6.4 billion in grants for states and local governments to modernize school buildings. The AIA estimates that somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000 jobs would be preserved or created by the passage of this bill. In addition, Representative Steve Israel has legislation that would allow DOE loan guarantees to support state property-assessed clean energy or PACE bond initiatives. Representative Mike Thompson has introduced legislation that amends the IRS code to allow a tax exemption of the interest on bonds like PACE bonds issued to finance renewable energy resource facilities. In another front, more than 80 organizations that are led by the AIA and the National Electric Manufacturers Association have renewed their call to support increasing energy-efficient commercial building tax deductions to help stimulate immediate job creation. So you get the sense from hearing this that Congress and the nation is really straining right now on a leash, eager to take action that will really create new and green jobs, increase our nation's security by lessening our dependence on imported energy, much of it from unstable areas of the world, and provide stewardship of the only home that we have, planet Earth. And let there be no doubt, this conference is really about our nation's future. And we, America's architects, are prepared to work with each and every one of you to do our part. Let's get busy and work together. Our next speaker is well known and admired by AIA members who live in the state of Colorado and who have worked with and support his energy office. Governor Bill Ritter knows about architects from the ground up. because when he was 14 years old, 14, I thought it was a little early to start working legally, but he was doing it when he was 14. He went to work full-time in the construction industry. This helped finance his college education, which led to a Juris Doctor from the University of Colorado School of Law in Boulder. And in 1981, he was hired as Deputy District Attorney for the City and County of Denver. And 6 years later, Ritter and his wife, Jeannie, moved to Zambia as missionaries, where they opened a food distribution and education center. And upon their return to Denver in 1989, Governor Roy Romer appointed Ritter to the District Attorney's office. And as Denver's District Attorney, Bill Ritter created one of the nation's first drug courts, as well as taking on white-collar crime in metropolitan Denver. He worked extensively on the prosecution of sexual abuse and domestic violence, as well as criminals offending senior citizens. This experience was the background for an early achievement that Governor Ritter is no doubt extremely proud of. What was that? The creation of the first victim services network in the United States. In 2005, he opened his campaign for governor. His theme was the Colorado Promise, a theme that sprang from his deeply held belief that as a state, Colorado was not living up to its full potential. To realize that potential, Governor Ritter set about leading Colorado's effort to create a new energy economy, a vision that included building up industries of the future such as aerospace and biosciences, and reforming Colorado's education and healthcare systems, and modernizing the state's transportation systems. However, the governor's commitment to a modern transportation system has not really been without its risks physically. Last March, Bill Ritter went down hard after a bicycle crash that netted the governor a total of 5 broken ribs. No automobiles were involved, but shortly after the accident, the governor issued a statement, which I quote, "Anybody who rides a bicycle without a helmet is just nuts." That's plain speaking, isn't it? So I have it on reliable authority, and the governor just told me that he was indeed wearing a helmet at the time of his accident. So please, ladies and gentlemen, let's join me in giving a warm welcome to the newly healed 41st governor of the state of Colorado, my friend.